Hey, this is Andy with Rocket City Pinball. If you have an older game that has a non-lighted push-button start like this Sega X-Files, and you'd like to upgrade it to my 1.5-inch diameter 3D printed lighted start buttons, this process here will show you how to do that. So let's come over here and look at the package that you'll receive if you order one of these buttons from me. So of course you'll receive the button itself in this housing. You'll receive a bushing, and I'll show you what that's for later. You'll receive a light housing with a bulb included to match your button. It also has a Comet matrix connector soldered to the light tabs. You'll also receive a Comet matrix bulb in your choice of color. This is for your coin reject button, and another plain one to match, because the coin reject button is where we're going to tap into power for the bulb. So that's what you'll receive. You also may need these tools. You might just need a skinny screwdriver, and you might need a pair of pliers. Depends on how your game is set up. So, first step in the process, we'll do the easy stuff. We'll do the light bulbs first. So let's take our light bulbs and let's come over here and we'll look at our coin reject buttons. So we're going to tap into power for our lighted start button at this coin reject button, but we're going to replace the bulb for this one as well, just so that they match in color. So let's come inside. All right. So this is the one that we're just going to match with the color, so we're going to use the plain bulb for that. In order to access the bulb, all you do is you just push on this little black piece and it should slide off the metal slot that's right there. Okay, there's your bulb. Pull that out. And take your new one. Pop it in. Slide it back on. Piece of cake. Now the next one's a little bit trickier. So same deal, we slide this black piece off right here. Like so. Okay, there's your old bulb. We're going to take that bulb out. Okay, now we're going to put the new one in with the matrix connector sticking up. And when we slide it back down to the slot here, we're going to let the matrix wires feed through this empty slot right here. But the hardest part about this is, since this bulb is on a little bit of a flexible end here, you have to feed it through the hole. So look down inside here. You'll see right there is a hole right here. That's the hole that the bulb needs to go in. So you have to kind of feed this through nice and slow to slide it onto the metal slot and feed the bulb into that hole. So it's a little bit tricky. Sometimes you can use your little screwdriver to help you direct it. You might want to look from over here so you can see better. Okay, so yeah, now you can see the bulb. I'm trying to feed it through that hole, just guiding it with my screwdriver while I slide it back on. Oop, I missed. There we go. There. So now I slide it onto the slot. Bulb is in the hole, like so, and I slid the top piece back onto the slot. Excellent. And we've got our little matrix connector sticking up right here. Okay, now next step is you're going to take the big long matrix extension that I've sent you that has a light housing attached to it, and it'd be best if you just kind of fed it behind these wires that are in here, like so, and then you're going to connect it to this new connector that we've put in place. Like so. Okay, so now we're connected to power from that bulb socket. Now we're just going to bring this inside the machine, and we're going to use it over here in a minute, but I'm just going to let it hang down here for now, because now we have to address the start button itself, which is up here. Okay, so here's your old start button. This is what it looks like. Now the nice thing is, you don't have to do any soldering for this process, because this micro switch right here can be removed from the old housing. So all you have to do is take your little flat screwdriver that I've told you to use, and you get underneath the plastic tab, and the micro switch should just rotate out. Oh, my hand's blocking the view, sorry. Trying not to block the view here. So once you pry away where my screwdriver is over here, then the micro switch will rotate out like this, and then you just pop it off the little tab, and now it's free. So here's your micro switch. Pushing this switch right here is what tells the game you're trying to start a game. So I'm going to let this hang here for a second as well. Now let's deal with the start button itself. Okay, so here's your old start button. It's held to the cabinet with this big black nut here. So you may need those pliers that I showed you to get in here and loosen this. I've already loosened it by hand prior, so that's why it's slightly loose still. But you may need your pliers to get on that, just to twist that and loosen it up. So you just unthread this like so. Okay, once that nut's off, this whole piece will slide out the front. And then, now I have it totally loose. So I'm just going to put this back on here so I don't lose it. And drop it down here. Now, let me get the next pieces you need. So next you need the new start button that I've sent you, and you need this bushing. So let's come around to the front to look what's going on with the bushing here. Now the hole that's inside this cabinet right here is a little bit bigger than the threads on my start button. So if you were to put this in here like this, it's a little sloppy, and I want you to make sure it's lined up nicely. So I've designed this bushing, and this bushing will sit right inside here, just like that, to help you align the button a little bit better. So then when you go to put the button in, it slides right in and it's perfectly in place. So you have the nut that was part of that assembly. You come back inside, and you put the nut on. You can see the gray bushing there. That's the piece we just put in. I get that nut I just dropped. Now the bushing may come in any color. It just depends what I've printed it in. It won't matter because you'll never see it. So color may vary on the bushing, but I'm going to thread this nut back on, and now your button is installed from the front. Alright, so now that your start button is installed, now we have to install the switch. So again, here's the switch that we pulled out of your old start button housing, and then here is the new light housing that we've wired into the coin reject button. So in order to hook this up, you'll notice that the switch has two little holes in it, and you'll notice that the housing has two little nubs on it, one here, one here. So the trick is you have to line these up so that those holes snap onto those nubs, and the little clickable part of the micro switch is facing towards the bulb. Okay, so if we look at how I'm set up right now, I'm actually backwards, so I got to rotate it around this way to get it on. So I'm going to try to snap it onto the little nub first, and then once it's on there, I can hopefully rotate it on to get it onto the other one. Not quite on. There, you heard it snap, so now it's on. So now it's nicely fixed in place, and you can see the clickable part is pointing towards the bulb. So now all we have to do is rotate it around, and we're going to come put it in the button. So you rotate it in, you'll see there's a little slot right here. Just stick it in like that, and then you rotate it about 1/8 of a turn. Oh, my button was too loose. There you go, now you're in place. If that happens and the whole thing rotates on you, you just have to tighten this nut down a little bit more, because I just didn't tighten it enough so that it stays in place. Okay, so now we're in place. So we're going to come around to the front, and we're going to turn the game on. It'll light up for a second, and then it'll turn off because the game's booting up. So if you like this 3D printed start button and you have a game that you think I could make this for, please contact me and let me know what game you're interested in. So again, this is on a Sega X-Files. See, I have my coin buttons, I have a launch button, and of course, your brand new, nice lit 3D start button.